Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, boys and girls. How are you? Hope you're doing good and fine. Today we are here to make a small experiment about how strong is a magnet. So you can do it at home with whatever you have. Maybe you can use a magnet clip which is on the refrigerator. You can find it on the refrigerator. And try with me to see, does it attract metal through different objects or not? But first, let me tell you what do you need to make an experiment. First of all, you have to set a purpose. So you need to write what you want to find out. Then you have to set your hypothesis. You will write your hypothesis or the statement that you will test. So what are you going to test? Now let's see. I will find out if a magnet can attract a paper clip through a piece of paper and then through other objects. It's not a classroom object because we're not in a classroom, so in my home. Okay. Then my hypothesis is that a magnet attracts a paper clip through a piece of paper but not through other objects. Let's see. Now, before we start our experiment, we need to think about the procedure. Why is it important to test the strength of the magnet with different classroom objects, or just like we said, with other object or different object? I want to know if the magnet field is strong enough to attract a paper clip through different objects. So, why we are making this test? Because we want to know about the magnet field. Is it strong enough to attract other things through different objects or not? Okay? After we make the experiment, please guys come back to report, so to write or to record our data. Alright? See you then. Okay, boys and girls, we're here to make this experiment to find out, does a magnet attract things over a piece of paper and other objects or not? This is my piece of magnet, and over here I have object number 1, object number 2, 3, and 4. So number 1 is a piece of paper. Number 2 is a piece of cloth. Number 3 is a piece of rubber. Number 4 is a book. See? And it is a thick book. What are we going to test is the magnet field. Is it strong enough? The magnet field of this one, this magnet, not all magnets. So different magnets has different fields. Now let's test this one. Over here I have the same amount of iron, all right? Pieces of metal or iron. Now let's see, can I attract it through the piece of paper? Yes, it is. Don't forget to record your data, okay? You must record your data. What is happening in number 1, object number 1? Good. So, number 1 is good. Let's see a piece of cloth. Over here. This is a piece of cloth. Oh, so it can attract things through a piece of cloth. I can see it over here. Can you see it moving? Now look at this one. So it moves and it attracts the piece through the piece of cloth. Okay, so number 2 is good too. Let's try this piece of rubber. Can I attract magnet through this piece of rubber? Do you think, is it yes or no? No. Why is that? See? I cannot touch it. The magnet does not attract through the piece of rubber. Okay. What about this huge or thick book? Do you think I can attract? No, I cannot use it. So, let's go now and record our data in the book. Okay, after we saw together the experiment, now how about if we record our data? We have to know that a piece of paper is the object number 1. Then we have object number 2, it was the piece of cloth. Object number 3, it was the piece of rubber. And then the book. The book was object number 4. So what about piece of paper? Did it attract or does not attract? What do you think? Yes, it did. It is attract. It attracts other magnets through the piece of paper. What about the piece of cloth? Excellent. Also, the piece of cloth attracts. Excellent. What about the piece of rubber? No, it did not. What about the book? The huge book I got? No, it didn't attract. Excellent. Write them down, record your data, because this is a part of experiment to record your data. So you can have a proof for your experiment. Excellent. Now let's draw a conclusion. We are going to answer these questions. How does putting something between the magnet and the paper clip affect the strength of a magnet? Did it affect it or not? Yes, because sometimes some objects, they let you attract, or they let the magnet attract the paper clip, but some object didn't. So sometimes the magnet field was strong enough and sometimes it wasn't strong. Now, why do you think that happens? We will find out. So, not all objects will allow the magnet to attract paper clip. Excellent. And why do you think that happens? Some materials block the magnet's magnetic field, just like the book, because it's huge, so it blocked the magnetic field. Excellent. Now, what other question can you ask about magnets? I would ask, does the size or the shape of a magnet determine its magnetic field? So, does it affect the magnetic field? How can you separate objects using a magnet? These are new ideas for new experiment you can do at your home. That's it for today, boys and girls. Thank you for listening and see you tomorrow in a new lesson.